Today's guest episode is a little different from what you might be used to. Una is a dear digital friend and a true soul sister. Although we've never met in person, she's one of those women with whom I've felt an instant connection. We walk a similar path, one devoted to remembering who we truly are, shedding the layers of conditioning and returning home to our authentic essence. I have so much love, respect, and admiration for this woman and the work that she brings into this world. When the idea for this episode dropped into my awareness, it felt less like planning a podcast and more like following a divine nudge. Rather than a traditional interview, Una and I decided to gather together some of the questions that so many women carry quietly in their hearts, pop them into a bowl, and simply see what unfolded. So what follows is an unscripted conversation between two women, two coaches and two seekers. There are no rehearsed answers, just an honest exploration of some of life's biggest questions. I hope our conversation sparks something within you and reminds you that you're not alone in whatever it is you're navigating. And now, let me introduce to you the wonderful Una. Una Singh is a master coach, sound healer, and regression therapist whose work serves as a bridge between practical world of entrepreneurship and the subtle realms of subconscious energy and emotions. After years of chasing achievement, which led to profound physical and emotional collapse, marked by a 2021 nervous breakdown, autoimmune conditions, and a loss of pregnancy, Una embarked on a radical journey of reclamation. Therefore, in her work, she utilizes her own transformational experiences along with modalities she learned. So far, she successfully has guided hundreds of entrepreneurs towards well-being, joy, and true inner and outer wealth. Una lives in Belgrade and loves to play the handpan, write, sing, and frolic in the woods like the real-life urban fairy that she is. So let's dive into this episode. I know you're going to love it as much as I enjoyed recording it. Welcome to Higher Self Mastery, the podcast for women ready to leave behind who they were told to be and remember who they truly are. I'm your host, Dami Schumacher. This is your space to come home to yourself, to honor the inner pull for more truth and more depth, and more meaning as you enter a new chapter of your life. Together, we're reframing midlife crisis into the midlife magic that it actually is, because this is your rebirth. Through soulful conversations and spiritual tools, you'll reconnect to your truth and reclaim your voice and live the life that your soul came here for. So let's begin. Hello, Una. Thank you so much for joining me on the Higher Self Mastery podcast. I am so excited to hear what is going to unfold into today's conversation. So, as I have already explained to my listeners, this is quite a different type of podcast, and we are just going to riff and see what the universe wants us to share with the listeners. Whatever downloads come to us will come to us. It's going to be spontaneous. And the only preparation that we have done is that we have carefully thought through a few questions that the listeners will probably be pondering over themselves, questions that maybe I have answered previously on the show, but it's always really healthy to be reminded, but also to get different perspective as well. So I have 6 questions in my little pot here, and I'm going to pick one at random. But although I'm physically here picking it, I would love it if you would like to choose one.
Mm-hmm. The one on the right bottom.
My right, your right, this one here?
That one. Yes.
That one, yeah. Okay, let's get it. All right, I might just have to pop my glasses on to see what it says. I'm excited. Let's see. Oh, if my glasses even fit with my headphones on, they don't quite like to. So, the question is, why do I find it so hard to receive, but so easy to overgive? I'm going to say that
Good
again. I'll
one.
read
The
it.
big one for the
Yeah,
beginning.
they're all big. I'm going to read it again. Why do I find it so hard to receive, but so easy to overgive?
Hmm.
Would you like to begin, or would you like me to start with that one?
Yes, I can begin. I have a thought that came in right away as I
Yeah,
heard the question. Thank you for
amazing.
having me, by the way. This is so fun. I'm so excited as well. The first thing that
Welcome.
came through was because I learned that giving is safer than receiving. And I know that from my experience as well. Um, and when I was little, actually, and I think throughout my puberty, adolescence, and most of my 30s, like early 30s as well, um, I felt safe when I was giving, providing, helping other people, supporting them, serving, because um, I felt that that I'm earning my existence that way. And that was
Hmm.
revealed through several sessions and deep dives and meditations. My subconscious understood that as a way to buy the right to exist. It was such a
Wow.
strange concept, but actually it was because down below, right within me, I didn't believe that I was worthy, that I
Hmm.
didn't believe that I belonged here, that I had a right to
Hmm.
exist and to actually fully exist. And only when I really um, learned how to and actually heal some parts of myself, right, and emotional traumas, etc., etc. And when I came to that pure gratitude for being here and that connection with divine love and God existence, then I was ready to receive fully. But before that, it felt like, I don't know how does that feel to you? Is it similar to what you experienced? But for me, it was this uh, trying to prove myself
Hmm.
at one side, but also feeling like I have to I have to earn my place in the
Hmm.
world. And I saw that with many of my clients and friends and family members as well. Might be one of the different reasons, but the first one that came to my mind. Yes. What about you?
Yeah. Yeah, wow. I think so many people listening to that are going to resonate with what you've just said there. And I think there were so many layers to what you said in that short
Yes.
answer there. It was a very deep answer as well. And what is coming to my mind off the back of what you've just said there as well is it's for the most part, unfortunately, what we learn as children, isn't it? Perhaps it was modeled
Yes.
to us. I know for most of us, our mothers, especially for us women, our mothers are our first role models. And my mother definitely grew up. I mean, she was probably modeling it off her mum too, but certainly generationally and culturally, it was expected of her to give more than she was allowed to receive. So, and
Mm,
that's what I saw. That's what was modeled to me. Like the woman, the mother, the way that you show your love. She just gave of herself so much to the point of um it compromising her health, right? And her own well-being and her own needs and all of those things. But as a child, you don't see that. You don't understand the complexities. You just see it as black and white, and that's how you behave. You just give and give and give and give and give. And I think there are so many different scenarios that could have played out in all of our different childhoods, but it is very much about whether we were expected to. In my case, I wasn't expected to give, but that's what was role modeled for me. Um, but perhaps some of the listeners may tuning in might be like, that is how they received love. That's how they felt accepted or a part of the family, or felt like they had a place, whether it's with their parents or with their siblings or extended family, or maybe even a little bit further afield in their society, the community, at school, even. I think I've seen it as
Mm.
well. Now I mentioned school, I see it a lot in adolescence. So often when children are insecure about their friendships, which, let's be honest, we've all been there at some point. We've been insecure about our friendships, whatever age that is, whether it's 6 years old or whether we've been 36. And I've seen it time and time again where kids will try to buy that friendship, try to buy that love, that attention, that acceptance into a group of friends by giving more than they really need to. Um, so that's, I think, where a lot of the wounds maybe are originally seeded within us. But on the other side of this question is like, why is it so much easy? Why is it so hard to receive, but so easy to overgive? And then we've both spoke quite a bit on the overgiving part of it because it's to feel
Mhm.
connection, it's to feel like we belong, to make us feel worthy, like we have to prove ourselves, right? And those are really, really core, deep wounds. But actually, what I find really interesting in this question, because as women, and the audience predominantly are women here, it is our natural state to receive. As women, we should be receivers. Yet we find ourselves
Yes.
giving more than receiving. And that, I would love to hear what your thoughts are on that, on the receiving side of things. I mean, what's been your personal experience of receiving? And I'm sure you've done some healing on that as well.
Mm. Definitely, definitely. It's such a huge and beautiful topic. And um, when it comes to receiving, we have received a lot of pain as well. So we have received, and I know in my case as well, we have received a lot of giving that was actually manipulation. And it turned out to be a way to keep us silent or keep us small, like different and narcissistic and different types of patterns in relationships. And I had a pretty good run with those for a pretty long time. And my nervous system was closed. It wanted to protect itself actually, and to protect me, my heart, my soul, from upcoming hurt. That was the pattern within my brain, saying, all right, if we receive a lot, we can be hurt a lot. If we receive deeply, we can be hurt deeply. And this was a dysfunctional pattern. It also required a lot of attention and care and compassion from my side towards myself, towards my heart, listening to my heart and honoring what it went through, understanding how it impacted all of my bodies, my emotional body, physical body, mental, spiritual, right? Um, and when I began to receive, when my body was ready to receive, not only my mind was ready. My mind was, yes, as a woman, I'm meant to receive. We all know all of that. The basis of feminine energy is the principle of receiving. Yeah, yeah, yeah. The mind knows, but body wasn't ready. Body was closed, and it could receive a little bit here and there, and in certain circumstances, etc., etc. But as I heal the relationship with myself, within myself, my relationships, external ones, healed as well, because that's how it goes. First from within, and then the reality just reflects that in a state. Then I started to receive more and more and be ready and feel safe when I'm receiving, knowing that even if I get hurt, which will happen in life, we get betrayed. We people will mess up, right? We mess up as humans. But if that happens, it's all right because I'm with myself. I got me, and God, has me. And that feeling of safety from within, that was my sacred gate to receiving. And I'm still learning. I'm still developing that, of course. These layers are subconscious. So for anyone listening, give yourself time and give yourself grace because it needs time. Patterns that are deeply ingrained in your subconscious, they will need time and a lot of support and a lot of love and compassion and mentorship and therapy and all of those things to get to a state of safety, but it's definitely possible. I know that you are a living example of that. I'm a living example of that, that it is possible to change these patterns, definitely. And once we trust ourselves and trust life and trust God, then we start to trust other people as well. And again, if they hurt us, okay, okay. We process that, we heal, we place boundaries, we move on, and life goes on, right? So beautiful, beautiful topic. I would love to hear from your side as well. How did that look like, that opening for receiving at your side?
What a profound answer. I expected nothing else. I love that. Thank you. And there's a few different things that you said that I want to spin off there. Twice you've mentioned it now. I
Yes.
failed to touch on it the first time in the giving part as well, is the safety. Ultimately, this is what it's when we're unable to do something or there's a big block, it comes down to really core um, aspects within our subconscious, within our psyche. And our mind, our body is never trying to sabotage our happiness and our peace. It's just trying to keep us alive. It's trying to protect us. So safety is often what it comes back down to. And yeah, when we want to receive, we may want to intellectually, we may be like, yes, please, I want to receive love. I want to receive more abundance. I want to receive more money. I want to receive, I'm ready. Hi, I'm here. But it lives in the body. And because to receive, you have to open up the heart. You have to expose the heart and it becomes vulnerable. It requires us to step down and pull away all of the defenses and the protection um, that we have perhaps been living behind, that have kept us safe up until that point or have brought us to that point in our lives. But in order to receive, and this is very much my experience, I really struggled to receive, and it's definitely something that I'm still working through my layers of programming. And it, like you said, I think that's a beautiful reminder to everyone in all of this work. We have to give ourselves grace because this work cannot be done overnight. Everybody wants a quick fix. But unfortunately, the real sustaining, long lasting transformations do not come as a quick fix. If anyone's selling you that, right, then I would question the integrity behind what they're actually selling you, because it doesn't, and it's different for each
Yes.
and every one of us. But for me, I really found, because I lived so much in my masculine and with that masculine energy, and again, this came from me protecting myself, me looking after myself so I couldn't get hurt. Um, was that I'm super Miss Independent. I can fend for myself. I can do everything myself. I don't need anyone. And I still
Yes.
can have that attitude like nothing will take me down. Nothing will ever take me down. And I will always stand up on my own 2 feet if anything happens. And I don't think that's a bad thing. But what is shifting in me now is that I will stand up on my own 2 feet because I know that I am held by Pachamama. I know that I am held and supported by the universe. Not because I've got this fight
Mhm.
energy in me. And that fight energy before was also stopping me from receiving because I didn't let anybody do anything for me, because I can do it myself. I don't need you because if I let you do it once, what if I then start trusting you to do it again and again or expecting you to do it? And these are faults within myself, right? Because like you said, people are going to mess up. We mess up all the time. They're going to mess up. We're only human. And then with that expectation, sometimes they may not deliver on something that I'm waiting for them to do. And then it's like, oh, I knew they'd let me down. I knew they wouldn't deliver, blah, 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 this, that, and the other, all of that dialogue, right? And that's it. And then all the walls will go back up again. It's just like, I should have just done it myself, right? I shouldn't have relied on that person to whatever that is, whatever it is, but just to be that self-sufficient. Because my narrative always has been if I don't rely on anybody else, therefore not looking to receive anything from anyone else, well, then I can't be disappointed and I can't be let down. Right. And
Yes.
that was always my narrative. And I've definitely have begun to open up and try to receive this now. And I've had to because I want to improve my relations. I want to also stop carrying everything. It's so tiring to carry it all, right? And I want to be more in my divine feminine um archetype of the goddess. And when you look at the goddesses and you look at the queens, I think when I started working with the queen archetype a couple of years ago, that's when I really started to learn how to receive, because a queen receives, right? But no one
Yes.
messes with her. No one betrays her. Like, she's still almighty and powerful, but she is beautiful and divine and feminine, and she's got a different kind of power. But she's right there in the middle, and she's like, bring it to me, guys, bring it to me, like whatever it is, like I am here to receive, shower me with everything you've got, and I will gladly receive it with grace. But yeah, it is this fear of opening. For me, that's what it really keeps coming back to, is this fear of opening the heart and being hurt. So it's back down to that
Yes.
safety. And what was also really interesting in what you said, which I never really thought about it until you mentioned it now, was um, where will have all of us at some point in different situations received in manipulative or unhealthy ways, which has now made us very
Yes.
cautious. Um, that's really interesting. That's really interesting. I don't think I've sort of done a deep dive into that in my own narrative, and I think I want to make a note of it. Like, that's what I want to sort of do a deep dive into, because I'm sure there is. Because not everyone is honest, and everyone's got hidden agendas. But even if it was done not in a malicious way, even if it was done from people who love us, because they're carrying their own wounds. And
Yes.
then maybe the way that they gave us love or showed us love or gave us things, even especially as children, um, came with conditions, perhaps, or an expectation. And you
Sure.
see that, definitely see that in parent children dynamics. And again, always we're not pointing fingers at anybody else. We're all just on our own journey, right? And we're all wounded. And that's the journey that we're here to do, is just to return home to that pure essence of who we really are. Um, yeah, I think I don't, do you want to add anything else? I mean, for sure we could talk a lot more on it, but I think that's a pretty good starting place. Is there anything that you've obviously done a lot of work on healing these aspects of overgiving and learning to receive. Anybody who is listening might be going, oh my gosh, that's me, and really identifying with what we're saying here. Um, do you have any pointers that you might give them where they may start to do this work, what they could possibly begin with? Because there's not a one tool, is there? Some of the things that you've done, maybe that you found that were really profound and worked for you,
Yes.
or
Yes. First of all, I love your energy as you were talking about your feminine aspect and feminine goddess and queen energies, because your entire body just softened and your voice softened, and it's so beautiful to see. It was the instant connection. Thank you. Thank you for everything. I mean, for being who you are and all of the wonderful questions and how this is flowing. Um, when it comes to one of the first steps I took to uh, to reclaim my ability to receive, because actually we all have that, as you said, naturally within us. And actually we are always receiving, right? We are receiving the positive things, the neutral things, the negative things. We are always receiving. It's inevitable. I'm here, I'm seeing this, and I'm receiving it, whether I want it or not, in a way. And for me, one of the crucial steps there was to understand that that exchange of energy is actually what is always happening. And when I'm giving something, I'm receiving the gratitude of that person, the attention of that person, right? There is always this exchange. It's inevitable. And when I'm receiving, that person is also getting my attention, a piece of my energy, right? My gratitude, etc. So understanding that natural flow that is always happening, that gave me the freedom to receive more and to understand, all right, it's already happening. It's just it's the matter of how safe I feel, right? And giving myself permission. So I think that's one of the main and first steps is give yourself permission to be a little bit selfish, to demand, to ask, to maybe sometimes be a little bit bitchy. That's also a part of who we are. And express yourself freely. Of course, if it's not hurting you or anyone else, right? That is always something that we are aiming to 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 keep, right? That's safety in general. But I know that I had a phase of that healthy selfishness, and that was so wonderful because I understood, all right, people love to give me things. They love that sensation of providing just as I do. So I have been taking that from them in a way and saying, all right, I have that pleasure to give, but I will not give you the pleasure to give me something. And then people started giving me more and more and more. And then comes the overwhelm, of course, is the natural part of the process. When you go like, okay, no, slow down. This is too much, or let me process. But essentially, that healthy selfishness is so important both for women and men, because men also can have, I had a lot of clients with that pattern of overgiving, of belief, right? They believe that they have to provide, they have to be useful in order to be worthy and valuable. So they just provided until they broke down completely. And that was not healthy as well. So it's something that we all, I think, experience in different ways. But yes, let yourself be a little bit selfish. It's not going to actually hurt anyone, and people are going to be really happy if they do really care for you, if they do really want a beautiful relationship with you, personal, professional, in any form. They will be so happy to give you things, to provide for you, to make you feel better, to make you feel safer, to make you feel more beautiful, to just make your life beautiful. And when that exchange naturally opens up, it becomes like a beautiful dance, and you no longer think about it. So I'm no longer thinking about it so much, right? It's just happening, just like this exchange between us. I'm giving, you're giving, the energy is flowing. And again, be graceful about that pace and be really patient with yourself and others. What would you add? This is a beautiful topic. I mean,
Yeah,
we
I
might,
love that.
dedicate the entire episode because it's so good.
Yeah, I think that's great. I think we will just stick to this, right? Because I think it's more important we deep dive into this conversation rather than rush through. And there is, I mean, we could
Of
talk and
course.
talk and talk on this because there's so many different arms of where this goes into. Um, Yes, I love what you said there about it's the exchange. And what came to my mind were a few different things was the law of circulation, which is something I learned from my very first transformation teacher, which is the law of giving and receiving, and it's cyclical. It's this beautiful cyclical cycle, and energy is supposed to always be fluid and flowing and in motion. The only time we have um difficulties or problems is when that energy is forced to stop and become stagnant somewhere because we're blocking it, right? And so what we're aiming for is this beautiful, we can give, and but then we have that open circulation to receive, and then we give and we have this open circulation to receive. And that's, for me, like, I'm a very visual person. That helps me to sort of visualize what I'm aiming towards. But I also think it is the really small things that we need to start with. And I think because safety is at the core of a lot of this, is to start with situations or people that we feel safe with. So that might actually be our best friend, but it might not be. It might be with strangers, because our strangers are usually, well, I say this, depending on the situation, may not have any ulterior motives, right? So you've got to be, this is where you have to learn to be discerning. This is where you've got to also have your boundaries, I think, as well, is really important in all of this, but really small things. So the things that came to mind are compliments, especially
Yeah.
as women, right? I know certainly I couldn't receive a compliment, and then, just like you said, I, by throwing back that compliment or deflecting that compliment, and you may not even realize it, ladies, that you're deflecting it. So take notice the next time somebody compliments you, like, if you're in the ladies bathroom in a public space, and as we ladies often do, oh, I like your lip color, your hair looks nice, I like your dress, rather than shrugging it off and deflecting it by saying something like, oh, what, this old thing, or oh, it's just something I found, or oh, it's okay, but my thighs look too big, or whatever it is your natural go-to deflection is. I'm going to invite you, ladies, to just hold your tongue, bite your tongue there. Just pause for a minute if you can. And if it does slip out of your mouth, that's okay. But then afterwards, to remember this conversation and just go, oh, look what I did there. Because maybe you don't even have the awareness that you're doing it. And that's the very first step. But in those moments when you begin to train yourself, it might feel uncomfortable. I know it did. It felt icky to me at first. It was just like, oh, I don't like, I like, everything in my body was fighting me from accepting compliments at first. But the more I allowed myself to just go, thank you, and then stop the conversation there, I didn't feel the need to say something back unless it was sincere. I didn't feel the need to justify it or deflect it, but just to say thank you, and then smile, genuinely accept that compliment because that's something they were giving me and I am now receiving it. And then to go about my own business like I was attending to. And that's really shifted in me. Something as small as that can feel so uncomfortable and so difficult, but it's a great place to start. And I think is a good example for women because I see so many women do it. So, if a stranger does pass a compliment, accept it, take it, own it. Own it like a queen, right? And if somebody holds the door open for you, don't feel like you need to be like, oh, no, it's okay or whatever. Like, accept it and notice what it is you're receiving it. It's those little things. If someone offers to buy you coffee, rather than saying, oh, no, I got this, just say, thank you. That would be lovely. It's those really small
Yes.
little things that I think are going to be the first steps for us to start to open up the channel to receive. Then bigger things like love within our partnerships, our intimate relationships, that's where maybe we've been hurt more, or maybe in our relationships with our parents or our siblings, all of those more complicated dynamics, then it will become easier to be able to start receiving in those areas of our lives as well. But yeah, it's, for me, what really comes to mind is the cyclical flow and allowing the energy to flow. And it doesn't mean we don't give. Continue to give. Please do, is so important, because also the way that the universal laws work is that whatever you put out into the world, the more you will receive of that. So if you give, you will receive as much love or as much abundance or as much generosity. But that's when then you have to be open and willing to then embrace it and take it in and receive it as well. Like, there's no point it gathering at your front doorstep because you've got the door closed. So, I'm not saying here that you stop
Beautiful.
giving. It's this cycle. Yeah. Any thoughts on that at all?
I remembered one scene. This is so beautiful. As I was coming to this space where I'm at, right, at this wonderful studio, and I was waiting on the bus station for the lovely bus, and there was a woman in a wheelchair, and she was about to enter into a bus, and this beautiful moment when the bus driver, got out of his seat as he stopped, and he got out of his seat, went to her, helped her get into the bus, asked her how she is, where is she going, where is her stop. And as he did that, he really took time. Everything was right, everything was just standing, right? We were all just standing. But actually, I looked at the faces of people that were around, that was observing this wonderful conversation they were having. And he made sure that she is safe, that she is going to get out at the stop where she wants to get out, that he will help her again. And then he just peacefully, gracefully came back to his seat and started the bus, right? And everyone was smiling. Literally every person, about 20, 30 people in the bus and outside of the bus, we were all smiling. I caught myself smiling, and then I looked around and I realized we were all smiling. So it's a simple act. It took maybe, I don't know, 50, 60 seconds in total. It should be, of course, normal. Perhaps we are not seeing that as normal anymore. That's a little bit scary, right? Okay, so beautiful. And that's exactly what we are talking about in this session. I wanted to say in this chit chat podcast episode. We're talking about that exchange. So this one bus driver, this gentleman, he influenced all of us, 30 people like this in a millisecond with what he did. And he, of course, influenced himself in a beautiful way, because I'm sure that he felt good as well. You know, he made sure that she's fine, that she's safe, you know, and he was in his zone. He was in the flow, and that again means that, yes, everything is this wonderful exchange. And as we are giving, we are receiving. As we're receiving, we are giving. And it also has a ripple effect, right? We have no idea who is going to be affected by our kindness, uh, by us receiving the kindness, because she was so nice about it. She was very grateful. It was visible. Her entire face was shining as he approached, because she didn't expect that. Like, she didn't expect that. And she was, again, she felt safe. She felt uh, respected and seen, felt heard. And almost makes me cry, right? How wonderful this short and profound exchange was, as such an example of the triple effect, again, because we are all interconnected. And when we say thank you, that has a ripple effect as well. Oh, she said thank you in such a nice way. Oh, she's happy. We are all happy for her. I don't know the person. I don't know who they are. I will probably never ever see them again. But I have them in my heart. Like, oh, this happened and it was so nice. And it might be the core thing we came here to exchange as human beings on Earth. It might be actually that energetic exchange. We came here to collaborate, we came to co-create, to take care of each other, to receive all of that. And that when we do that, we feel fully alive. When I'm creating my videos, my sessions, when I'm creating courses, whatever, I feel amazing. That's life force flowing through me, inspiration. And then, of course, when I get the feedback and I see the breakthroughs, that is, it's just bigger and bigger and bigger. And often I wasn't realizing actually what was the real effect and how far did it go of what I was doing and giving or what I was receiving. And years after people arrived and people told me, oh, that one sentence you said, I mean, it's crazy. That one sentence you said about 3 years ago, it not only changed my life, it changed the life of my family, and it actually brought into the manifestation this, and this, and that brought this, and I'm like, I just said something. But again, it's so beautiful, and also that happened to me as well many times. Only one genuine, how are you doing? But how are you doing really? That changed my life about 10 years ago. That was the initial spark for my entire spiritual awakening. That moment when a woman stood in front of me and asked me with pure attention, undivided, deep, deep compassion, how are you really doing? Because I wasn't aware how deeply I was struggling, right? I went a little bit further here because I felt that need to share. It's so precious. It's so divine. So, ladies, we see you. We see you. We give people the opportunity to shower you with blessings. Everything you desire and more.
I love that. And you said it almost making you cry, but as soon as you told the story, I actually did tear up. I totally got emotional.
Oh,
And you're right, it's not something we see often enough, and that's really sad, but it's also beautiful to see. And that whole ripple effect would not have happened if that lady in the wheelchair wasn't able to receive, because
yes.
had it been another person with their own wounds, they could have got quite defensive, like, I'm okay, I don't need your help, like, I can take care of this myself. And we've seen that as well, right? And that could have had a completely different ending for everybody in the bus, and the bus driver, who's graciously trying to do a beautiful, kind thing. But because this lady was in a position where she was able to receive, and the flow and the exchange was there between them, the power of that. I kind of, this makes me really cheesy, but I'm thinking of The Power of Love. The song's playing in my head now. Right? But it's true, right? The power of love, the power of giving and receiving, and allowing this energy to flow. And you're absolutely right. Yes, we did digress a little bit there, but it's all so valid and so important, because when we do give, and give genuinely, and give from a place of real sincerity, and we don't know how profound that's how it's going to land for the person we're giving to. You just don't. We don't
Yes.
know what that interaction is going to mean for them, because we're not them. We're not in their shoes. We're not in their life, but we're not in their head. And all we have no say or control over that. It's not our journey to walk. But what we can have a say in is how we make every interaction as heart centered as possible, as expansive as possible. And I think really what this is, to begin to summarize our conversation here, I think what is becoming clear is that this is about learning to stay in this expansive heart space. To give, we have to have an open heart. To receive, we have to have this open heart. But yes, but in order to feel safe doing both of those things, we do need to have those boundaries. We do need to be very grounded as well. We need to feel safe, because our feeling of safety comes from our root chakra, from that core base of ourselves. So it is really important we do a lot of grounding work, and of course of the inner child shadow work, whatever we want to call it, so we can begin to um, bring those things to the surface and acknowledge them, witness them, give them the space that they need, and then say thank you with gratitude and kiss them goodbye, so we can release them. We can release them. Of course, that work needs to be done as well, but that's the bigger, deeper work that we may do with a coach or a therapist, as you said, where we got additional support as well. But to begin with, at home, for the listeners, it's really, start, if you feel unsafe in any one of these giving and receiving parts of your life, then begin with some of that grounding work, begin with some of this safety work, and trust, and trust, learn to connect with your intuition. I know that's a whole other subject, and maybe we'll cover that another time, but learn to trust your intuition, because you'll know when somebody giving to you doesn't feel safe. But then you have to be able to hold your boundary down and say, you're crossing a line now, or no, thank you, because it doesn't feel like it's necessarily coming from a pure heart space from them. And you've got to be able to trust yourself to be able to do those kind of things. But also trusting yourself to give as well, in situations that I think also, now I might digress a little bit here, and I said we're summarizing, but another thought's just come to my head is, as women, for most of us, we unfortunately, and this hasn't changed yet, but we learn from quite a young age that we have to be very mindful of receiving attention, because people's intentions behind giving us attention can be dangerous. And so we can play small, we can try to hide ourselves and those sort of things. And we spend so much time trying to hide and not be seen or not stand out. That in itself can be a block for receiving, but also for giving as well, because it's so much, very transparently, it's so much easier for me. It's got easier as I got older. But I think in my 20s, in my prime of my life, where I received a lot of attention, unwanted attention, it would have been a lot trickier. But it is easier to do now in my 40s. I think also I just really don't care as much, but I don't receive as much attention either. So, it kind of works both ways. But it's still easier for me to compliment or say something nice and interact with a stranger who is female than it may be who is male, because I don't want to give the wrong impression. I don't want them to feel like, oh, she's interested in me. No, I'm not interested in you, mate. I just wanted to say you had a nice shirt on, like, it's a nice shirt. That's where it stops. There's nothing, don't read into it, please. And I think it's unfortunate, but there is that, again, it comes back to protection, where we feel safe to do this. That just popped into my mind before I sort of wrap things up. But to conclude, I'm going to read the question again one last time, Una. And if anything else comes up for you that you want to share, feel free to do that. So the question was, why do I find it so hard to receive, but so easy to overgive? And if nothing comes up, that's also fine, because we have covered a lot.
I have a need, if that's okay with you, to channel a short poem.
Okay. Yeah.
That came true.
Okay, let's do it.
So we can again just connect to our hearts like we did at the beginning. Feel ourselves. Take a deep breath in. The longest possible exhale. And this is here right now. Thank you. Thank you to all silent protectors within myself who held me and kept me safe from receiving harm or malicious intent. I say thank you to all of them, and I release them from their duty, making my capacity to receive and give a gate, a beautiful gate. I see it turning into a golden gate that can be wide open or maybe completely closed. It depends. I see that my ability to give and to receive was never just for me. It was for everyone because we are all interconnected. Thank you for the ability to protect myself when it's needed. And thank you for the growing ability to open myself to all the blessings life wants to give me.
Wow. What a beautiful way to conclude that conversation. Oh my gosh. Thank
Thank
you,
you. Thank you.
dear sister. That was such a rich conversation. And I know the ladies who have tuned in are going to get so much out of our conversation today. And ladies, if you enjoyed this, please let us know. Drop it in the comments if you're watching on YouTube. Email me because we have other questions we want to discuss, right? This and many more. And if there is a demand for it, if this is something you want to see more of, I know I would be so happy to do this again. And I think Una probably would as well. Would you come back,
Me
Una?
too. Me too.
Okay,
Of course. Of
amazing.
course.
Amazing. I love it. Thank you so much, dear sister. Until next time.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Thank you for this beautiful exchange of energy.
Sometimes manifestation isn't about learning another technique. It's about uncovering what your soul has been trying to show you all along. I'm calling in just 13 divine women to join me for an intimate Lionsgate Portal manifestation ceremony. If you've been doing all the right things, reading the books, creating the vision boards, setting intentions, and repeating the affirmations, yet the manifestation that matters most still isn't landing, this may be the missing piece. This is not simply another workshop or class. It is a ceremonial space created for women who are ready to go deeper. Over 3 sacred hours, we'll journey together. You'll uncover what you truly desire at a soul level. We'll gently reveal what may be blocking your ability to receive it, and you'll leave with practical tools to activate the next chapter of your manifestation journey. Held within one of the most powerful manifestation windows of the year, this ceremony will help you to deepen your alignment, expand your capacity to receive, and quantum leap the results you've been creating so far. We'll complete our journey with a deeply restorative sound bath. This will allow everything you've uncovered to settle, integrate, and anchor within you. If your heart is whispering yes, you'll find all the details in today's show notes. I'd be honored to welcome you into the circle. Thank you for joining me on this episode of Higher Self Mastery. If something landed, moved you, or sparked a shift, I'd love to hear from you. Be sure to follow, subscribe, and share this episode with a woman in your life that is also ready to rise. And if you found value in today's conversation, please take a moment to rate and review this podcast, especially in these early days. It really helps others to find this work too. If you're craving deeper support and sisterhood, join my mailing list using the link below, where you'll be the first to receive free meditations, learn about up-and-coming retreats, and other ways that we can work together. Until next time, honor your truth and trust in the timing of your becoming.